Welcome to another edition of the Litigation Psychology Podcast, brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. Dr. Bill Kanasky here. We're in the headphones today because I upgraded some software, and I've installed a soundboard. So we're going to test this today. This is going to be fun, right? Always got to upgrade the podcast. Now today, just to let you kind of foreshadow here, right? Today, what we're going to talk about is a way to up your voir dire game. I've been doing a couple different podcasts on more effective voir dire, and I want to share another trick with you. All right, but before I do that, let's test the soundboard, right? So if you're a guest on the podcast, right, and you say something correctly, here's what you're going to hear. Aha, you like that? But, you know, if you say something that I vehemently disagree with, then, you know, then we Now, I may say something that no one likes, which, you know, that does. However, I say a lot of things that you do like, so when that happens, okay? Now, I downloaded a bunch of stuff. Now, my favorite one, right? That's the favorite. You ready for it?
You can't handle the truth.
You like that? You like that? Should go liar, liar, Jim Carrey?
I object, Your Honor.
Oh man, the fun I am gonna have with this. What else do I want to do? Yeah, maybe you're old school, right? And you like the little Homer Simpson.
Go.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I've been playing with this. It's really, really good stuff. So let's talk about voir dire, and I'm going to end this podcast with a couple health tips, right? You know me, I'm a health nut, and I have found some things that have just been life-changing. I mean, absolutely life-changing. And I want to share those with you because, you know, you may be attorneys or claims people. I'm a consultant, but, you know, we work a lot on our computers, a lot with our phones. And boy, that can lead to a lot of back problems, neck problems, things like that. I have a couple solutions there too. Again, life-changing that I'm going to share with you. But let's talk about this voir dire thing. So let's say in voir dire, something that you want to, I think a popular topic, something that you certainly want to get feedback on from jurors is going to be their level of corporate distrust, right? Everybody's talking about this. And it's out there. That's no secret. How do you really accurately measure this? Well, let me tell you kind of the wrong way. Let's say the wrong way, the ineffective way. Because let's just back up. So what you want to do in voir dire is you want to elicit information. You want to make jurors feel comfortable. You want to give them options. And you want them to be honest with you. And so how you ask a question can largely determine what type of feedback you're going to get. So kind of the old way, and I think the ineffective way to do this, is to simply ask jurors, you know, hey, if you distrust, right, this is in voir dire, if you distrust corporations, you know, raise your hand. Then you get a couple of hands, right? Okay, well, juror number 5, why do you distrust corporations? Stuff like that, right? Not really effective. And I think a lot of people that would like to raise their hand maybe won't raise their hand because of the yes or no dichotomous answer set that you've provided, okay? So there's a better way to do this. So let me tell you a better way, but I wouldn't necessarily go here because it can be kind of confusing. This would be really good for a supplemental juror questionnaire, however, okay? So there's something called a Likert scale, Now, everybody sees this. This is Likert. And if you've taken a statistics class in college, you certainly know about this, okay? It's not a Likert scale. I think Likert sounds funny, but that's actually how it's pronounced. It's called a Likert scale, not Likert. But this is pretty much your 1 through 5 scale, right? So this is very effective for a juror questionnaire, but not quite as effective in oral voir dire. So a Likert scale, what is it? Okay, 1 through 5 scale, where you're going to give them a piece of information, typically something like an attitude or a belief system, and you're going to ask them, okay, do you strongly disagree? Do you disagree? Are you neutral? Do you agree or do you strongly agree? So it's pretty much an agreement scale that gives a list of options, okay? Really, really effective for questionnaires. So if you're going to have questionnaires in your jury selection process, and you can get one of these in there, really good way. It gives jurors options. But asking this in oral voir dire, kind of confusing. Not the best way to do it. It's a big time waste. You have to keep repeating the signal. I'm sorry, keep repeating the scale. So, but it gives the jurors options to pick from. Okay. Again, orally, I think this is a lot tougher. But if you do have a supplemental juror questionnaire, you put the attitude or belief system, right? So, for example, if you had a statement about corporate America, right? Corporate America puts profits over safety. And then you have the Likert scale, okay? Do you strongly disagree with that? Do you disagree with that? Are you neutral? Do you agree with that or strongly disagree? You'll get some really good data out of that on the questionnaire. Again, I would argue orally that's really not going to way to go, but I'm going to tell you what to do exactly with that, right? Now, here's one of the debates about the Likert scale. Whether you're doing this, again, I wouldn't do it orally. I do this on a questionnaire format. And if, by the way, if you're doing focus groups and mock trials, these are really good answer sets to put on your questionnaires before, during, or after your project. The big controversy behind the Likert scale is, do you put the third option, the neutral option, in there? Because many jurors will kind of gravitate towards the neutral, and you can force them out of that neutral. So what I would recommend in a jury selection format and questionnaire format is I would eliminate this. I would make it a 1 to 4 scale, not 1 to 5. I would eliminate the neutral option so they can't pick it, and you're kind of forcing them to one side or the other, because I really don't think anybody is neutral on anything. But if you provide them the neutral, they love to use it. They love to use the neutral option, and that's not going to give you any useful information in jury selection. So I'd say skip that. So if you're going to use this if you're going to use the Likert scale during a supplemental juror questionnaire, you put in the item that you want to measure, okay, like the profits over safety. And there's other measures. You do this all day, right? You make multiple questions like this, and then have the uniform answer set for them on the questionnaire, which would be strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree. Okay? And those would be 1 through 4. That's the way you do it on a questionnaire. However, I don't think that's really the way you want to do this orally. So orally, what do we want to do? Well, I would argue, and we've tested this over and over again, this really, really works. And it's something that you need to play with. So if you are doing a focus group, for example, or mock trial, and you're having a discussion with jurors, you can test this. Oh, by the way, let's take a step back here. One of the best ways to practice voir dire is in your focus groups and mock trials. You're interacting with jurors. Ask these types of questions, particularly at the end of the project, right? Most projects at the end, you kind of have a Q&A or whatever, or a debriefing session. Ask these types of questions and practice, see what types of information you get, okay? So it's a 2-part system here to measure any of these variables, right? You want to measure, again, the profits over safety, right? Or how much does a juror distrust corporations, right? So the better way to do this would be to say, okay, now, I would like to know, so you're the attorney, right? You're talking to the jurors and voir dire. You're going to say, I would like to know to what extent you distrust large corporations, okay? And what I'd like you to do, I'm going to go one by one, okay? And that's the key. You got to go one by one. This is not a hand raising question. You're going to go one by one. And you can do this very quickly, by the way. And go one by one. And I would like you to give me a rating from 0 to 10. 0, okay, this is how much distrust. So 0 means, okay, I totally trust corporations. I have 0 distrust, right? 10 would be I totally 100%. So remember, it's a percentage, right? 0 to 100%. How much do you distrust? 10 is going to be 100% distrust. And you can use any point on the scale from 0 to 10. Juror number 1, let's start with you. What would be your number on 0 to 10 on how much you distrust large corporations? Get their number. Now, look at the amount of information right now that you have. Okay? Because that number, because remember, with the Likert scale, it's pretty much 4 options. Here, you have 11 options. You have 0 to 10. So 0 is an option. So yeah, 11 options you're giving them. Okay, so more information. And they could pick 3, they could pick 5, they could pick 7, whatever. Okay, so you get the number. The second step of this process, which is the most important part, is you say in one sentence, you always give them parameters, it's going to take all day. In one crisp, clean sentence, what's your top reason for that number? Why? Why are you picking the number 7? And let them articulate why. And then, you're taking notes, or your colleague is taking notes, or your jury consultant's taking notes, okay? That is the very best way to get information about corporate distrust, or really any, let's say you're working on a med mal case, and you want to shift that to, okay, how much distrust do you have in the healthcare system, or in the way hospitals provide care? Anything, right? Anything, right? You really mix and match. Trucking cases. How much distrust do you have in the trucking industry? It doesn't really matter what industry you're in. You just have to mix and match what you're measuring, okay? And so what we're going to do is, again, you're going to give them the 0 to 10 scale. You explain it to them. You explain it up front. And then you probably want to explain it with the first couple of jurors. Then by juror 4, like, everybody's on the same page, right? So you probably have to repeat the instruction a few times. So step 1 is get the 0 to 10. And then step 2 is, in one brief sentence, right? What's the main factor in that number? What inside you? Why are you picking that number? Is it a personal? It could be a personal experience. Could be a belief you have. Could be a certain attitude. Could be something you read or something you've experienced. Like what is it? Okay. And then you'll see, as you go from juror to juror, you're going to get different numbers and different reasons. Now, this is far better than the yes/no question. Okay. Number 1, far better, because you're going to get more information. But most importantly, number 2 is it's much less pressure on a juror to give a number between 0 and 10 than it is to force them into a dichotomous response of yes or no, right? It's pretty extreme. Okay, so remember, if you want to get more information out of jurors, give them the flexibility. All right, now theoretically, you could do the very same thing in the juror questionnaire. So you have a supplemental juror questionnaire. You could use the Likert scale with the 4 options, and then have a follow-up question of why, and let them write it in. It'll be limited space, so they're going to have to give you something that's really to the point. Okay, but you could also do the same exact thing. Is you could say on on the 0 to 10 scale, how much do you distrust large corporations? Put a space for the number, and then below they have to justify it. So you can use that in the questionnaire as well. The key is taking pressure off of the jurors, giving them options so that they're not locked in. They feel very pressured when they're locked in. Okay, so you giving them yes or no's, or agree, disagrees. That tends to shut jurors down. And what you want to do is open them up. Now, that's the science behind this, right? Now, the art behind this is the follow-up, okay? So for kind of verbally and non-verbally, you have to be interested in what their number is and particularly their rationale for the number. You have to be interested, you have to show interest in that regardless of what it is. So they may give you a good number. They may say 2. You go, oh, 2, why? Okay, well, give me your rationale for why you picked 2. Okay, well, I work for a large corporation. They've been very good to me. I have family members and friends that work for large corporations. And generally, my experience has been, very positive. So my numbers too. And you go, oh, okay, well, thank you. Juror number 4. Now you get down to juror number 10. And juror number 10 says 9.9. And you go, oh, okay. It's the same response, right? Because remember, you're looking for the negative. If you're a defense counsel, you're looking for negative information. The worst thing you want to do is to go, 9.9, geez, because then nobody else is going to want to give a 9.9. You're looking for the 9.9s, right? I mean, that's what you're doing. So when the 9.9 comes out, or the 8, really anything over above a 7, because let's be honest, if you get a number of 6 or below, it's actually a positive number for you. On corporate distrust, I mean, come on. Okay, you get a 7 or higher, that's somebody telling you, I don't trust corporations, and I have a reason, okay? When the 9.9 gives their reason, they say, yeah, they're greedy. They're greedy. They only care about money. They don't care about regular people. And they start just hammering away. You have to look interested and appreciative of that information, just like you were from the one that gave the 2 rating. And go, oh, okay, well, hey, here's the key. There's the absolute key to all this. That's why voir dire is so hard, because there's multiple balls you got to juggle to do this. It's the question's like 10%. It's the setup of the question, then what you do after the question. Okay? You have to positively reinforce the bad things they're saying so that you will identify other jurors and get them to give you the same information and not hide it from you. So when they give you the bad information about why they hate corporations, you go, hey, thank you. You know what? Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you so much for sharing that information with me. I appreciate that. All right, let's go to juror number 11. You have to behave in a way that positively reinforces the juror that gave you very, very negative information. Because if you do the other thing, you go, oh boy, 9.9, geez. Okay, juror number 10, 9.9, boy, that's pretty extreme. Like, why do you feel that way? Really? What you've done is contaminated the rest of the jury. Like, well, shit, I'm not giving a 9, I am a 9.9. I'm not going to say 9.9. God, look at what he's going to do to me afterwards, right? Or what she's going to do to me afterwards. Okay, so there's an art and a science to voir dire. And I talk a lot about how to set these questions up. That's a whole podcast in itself. It's not the questions. The questions are not even half the battle. It's like 10 or 20%. It's the setup of the question, the answer set you're giving them. Like, what are the options here? 0 to 10 is much better than yes or no, right? And then once they give you the answer, what are you doing with that? What are your follow-up questions? How are you, because remember, in best case scenario, you're setting up cause challenges. You're setting up cause challenges with the judge. So you want to get as much of this negative information as possible. And if you inadvertently, okay, remember, operant conditioning, right? Operant conditioning, where are we at? We have positive reinforcement and we have punishment. There's no negative reinforcement in there. It's positive reinforcement or punishment. You can inadvertently punish the juror's response by going, 9.9, right? You've just punished the juror's response. You don't even know it. And remember what happens in operant conditioning by definition. Positive reinforcement, you're going to increase that behavior. Your kid comes home, they've got straight A's, you give them $50. They're going to keep doing well in school. You're reinforcing that behavior. You want to increase that frequency. Kid comes home, they've got D's and F's, you take away the cell phone, they get pissed at you. Now you're punishing that behavior. You want to eliminate the D's and F's, right? So what happens in voir dire with operant conditioning, and you don't even know you're doing it. That's why you got to think, okay? When you get negative information from a juror, that's negative towards your client, you don't want to inadvertently punish that, because then other jurors won't open up to you. Instead, you actually want to reward, you want to positively reinforce that behavior by saying, hey, thank you for that information. That's very, these kind of side comments, right? Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. And then all the other jurors hear that and go, oh, wow, it's okay to, God, speak my mind. It's okay to do that, right? Whereas if you do it the other way, all the other jurors be like, hey, I don't know if I really want to tell the truth here. I don't know if I want to be so open. Okay. So again, voir dire, I do, by the way, if you want me to do a CLE for your firm or your company or whatever, probably the law firm, this is more for attorneys as opposed to claims people, email me, call me. In 1 hour, I could teach you all this. All of it. There's a lot of science behind it, and there's an art to this. There's a lot of psychology behind it on how you're doing the voir dire. It's not just the questions. You could have the best questions in the world, and if you don't set them up right, you don't have the correct answer set and options, and you're not using operant conditioning after the answers, you're going to screw this up with the best questions in the world. Okay? Basic podcast today, but it's really, really important. Start to use in your oral voir dire, start to play. And again, just call me, email me. I'm happy to help you with this. If you email me and say, hey, Bill, can I have 15 minutes? There's something I really want to ask. I have a jury selection next week. I want to ask the jurors X. What are the best ways to ask this? Can you just call me? We talk for 15, 20 minutes. I'm not going to charge you. And I'll lay out some various options for you. Okay? Now, where does it get tricky? Well, everything I just told you is beautiful when you're in state court. And both sides are getting multiple hours for voir dire. But now let's talk about federal court. Now you all know where I'm going with this. Federal court, the judge says, yeah, I'll give you both 45 minutes for voir dire. You're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey now, Your Honor. It's not going to work. You like how I did that? It's not going to work. And the judge says, well, that's just the way it's going to be. And then, actually all the attorneys are going to be sitting out there, nobody's going to be happy. Nobody's going to be happy with this, right? However, you're stuck with what you're stuck with. So now you got to figure out, okay, what are the most important questions? I could probably, if I only have an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, right? I got to get this question out. You may have to pick one question to do that with all the jurors. Okay. Now, another way to do this, if you're really, really short on time, this is not the best way, but you could divide the 10-point scale up into thirds. Okay. Okay. And then you do the hand raising thing because you got to save time. So in federal court, the hand raising questions are typically the best because you're battling the clock, right? And you can say, okay, is anybody a zero? Raise your, no one's going to be a zero, right? Okay. So if you're 1 to 3, 4 to 6, or 7 to 10, those are the three options on corporate distrust, right? Or large corporations, to the extent you don't trust them. And you explain the scale. Okay, if you're a 1 to 3, or a 4 to 6 or a 7 to the 10? That's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to start with one. Remember, it's always about the setup. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start with, okay, there's 3 categories you can raise your hand to, and you got to raise your hand to one of them. Now, I'm going to start with the 1 to 3 group. If you're in the 1 to 3 on distrust of large corporations, please raise your hand. Let the 1 to 3s raise their hand and then very quickly go around and get their very quick reason. Okay. Next group. Okay. Kind of the middle ground. You're in the 4 to 6 category. You're not the 1 to 3. You're not the 7 to 10. Okay, you're in the 4 to 6 category. Now I want you folks to raise your hands. A subgroup. Okay. Same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Now the 7 to 10s. Okay. Like you really distrust corporate America. Okay. Now I want you all to raise your hands. Okay. That's going to be your back doorway into this when you are struggling with time. Now, if time is on your side, you're in state court, you have all day. Okay, you have all day. Just go with the 0 to 10 scale and go individually. It's worth its weight in gold. You're in federal court, you may have to do some other things here because you're battling against the clock. All right. Very straightforward podcast today. Very straightforward podcast. So now I'm going to do my rant, and I'm going to rant about the pain in my neck and the pain in my hips and the pain in my back and what I have done to fight this off. What we do, whether it be laptops or phones, and you're doing that stuff all day, it's really unhealthy for you, right? 2 life-changing things that I did. And I've always talked about this and just never got around to it. But I finally did it, see if it make it. And oh my God, both 10 out of 10. Speaking of my 0 to 10 scale, 10 out of 10 effectiveness. Number 1, as you can see, as I'm moving around, the standing desk. Oh my God, the standing desk. My hips and lower back. Oh man, so much better. Standing desk, move around, right? You can jog in place during one of your, Zooms if you had to. I mean, I'm serious. Standing desk is the real deal. Now, one of the negatives here is if you just stand there for 3 hours at a time, now your feet are going to be killing you, your knees, right? So you got to move around, you got to stretch out, you got to shift your weight during breaks. Make sure you're walking around. And then I keep my UNC bar stool right here. And then during breaks, I may have a seat. Or even I may just pull up my bar stool and kind of sit for a couple minutes just on the bar stool, not like a regular desk chair. Oh, amazing. Amazing how this has been life-changing and just so much more. And I mean, I'm pretty active. So like during breaks, I will do stretches. I will do my kind of body weight squats to kind of stay loose and stuff like that. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. And like you all, I spend a lot of time on airplanes. Those seats will kill you. Okay. Standing desk. I'm just telling you, if you don't do it, you're out of your mind. It's really, really, I think, key. Okay. The second thing that's been life-changing, which again, I've heard about this for years and just said, So my wife's been having some back problems. She's going to the doctor, going to physical therapy, and all these healthcare professionals are saying, do you have an inversion table? She's like, yeah, I've heard of them. I've always heard of them. And they're all saying like it's a life changer. You got to get it. It's going to take, it decompresses your spine. It's going to naturally stretch you up by using gravity, right? So you lay down on this table. It tilts you. You don't even have to go full upside down. You could go, I think 60 degrees, 60, 70 degrees is like the magic number there. A lot of research behind it. So about a month ago, I say, screw it. We're getting an inversion table, right? I want to help my wife. But then I'm thinking like, this can't be so bad for me either. Okay. This can't be so bad for me. I get the inversion table. Oh my God. I've used it most days of the week for 1 month. And you start it because remember, it's kind of weird, right? You have to work yourself up to a certain point, right? Because you really want to be in this thing, like 10 minutes, I think is the sweet spot. 15 is the max. Like 10 to 15 minutes is your sweet spot. I started like 2 minutes and then 3 minutes. And so like after a week, I could get to the 10 to 15 minutes. Oh my God. I'd say after 2 weeks of using this thing regularly, When I woke up in the morning, not stiff. Walking around all day, not stiff. So that combined with the standing desk, I feel like I've shaved 10 years because I'm 51 years old. I gotta tell you, once you hit that 5-0, boy, that pain, that stiffness in your joints. I played football for 10 years. I mean, I got some bumps and bruises. Trust me, I feel it. That ankle sprain and that knee injury from 1990, 91, I feel that every day. Oh my, the combination of these two things, it's just been, I feel like I'm in my late 30s right now, and I'm not joking around. I would not come on the podcast and share this as that too. So I think a lot of us are in the same boat on this because of the amount of computer time, sitting, your phone. Okay. Oh, let's end with that. Number 3, game changer. I went to the doctor. I'm like, Doc, like my neck's killing me. My neck's killing me. My neck's killing me. And I'm doing all these things. And he's like, you're looking at your damn phone too much. You know, your head weighs 8 pounds. And when you tilt it down, like we do, like if I'm on the airplane, right, you look at your phone, you're looking down. And you're looking down several hours a day. The physics of that, right? The physics of that 8 pounds going forward puts a lot of stress on your neck, as I have all kinds of neck pains and headaches. So I go, what do? He goes, well, 2 things. This is what this neurosurgeon taught me. He goes, number 1, when you look at your phone, it's like, you're going to look like an idiot, but trust me, it's going to take away your pain. Look at your phone, or I'll show you on the screen. Right? Look at your phone at eye level. Don't hold your phone down by your waist. Look at your phone, right? So you don't have to bend your head down. I'm like, well, God, you know, like, that's not easy. And then your arm gets tired, right? But it's like, just trust me, just you have to work that into it, or at least half the time. Hold your phone higher so the angle of your neck's not going down. But then what I got, here, I'm going to show you this. I forget, I don't have the brand name for this, okay? This is a cervical neck stretcher. It's made of, it's like a foamy material, kind of like a Nerf football. Remember the Nerf footballs? And this thing, this is kind of like a hard, it's like a foam, a pretty hard foam. It's foam. It's got some flexibility to it. It's like a, for lack of a better term, it's a pillow. Okay. And for 10 minutes, you lay on this. And what this does is it puts that C curve back in your neck. And so you can stretch your neck out every day the right way and get that, right? Takes away a lot of pain. All right. So for you serious people out there, hey, you know, you got, you know, whether your birthday is coming up or a holiday or whatever, splurge, get yourself a standing desk, okay? Because remember, no health, no nothing. I'm very big on this. No health, no nothing. Get yourself a standing desk. Consider the inversion table, or if somebody has one, go use it a couple times. You'll be shocked. And this cervical neck stretcher, oh my God. So I solved a lot of my physical problems by making some changes, but they all work. So I wanted to share that with you. So that is the truth. That is the truth. Those 3 things, I mean, just working miracles for me. And I got to leave you, you know, with
You
one
can't
thing.
handle the truth.
See? I think you can handle the truth. I really, really think you can. All right. So remember, oral voir dire, there's better ways to do this. There's better ways to do this. And if you contact me, I will teach you how to do this stuff. Again, I'm happy. I have a 1-hour CLE on this. Get on Zoom. I can talk to your whole firm and teach you exactly how to do this stuff, because you don't want to get outmaneuvered in voir dire. You could be making a lot of mistakes you don't even know you're making with the operant conditioning, okay? There's a way to be better. There's a way better. I'm happy to teach you about it. So thank you for participating in this edition of the Litigation Psychology Podcast, brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. I am Dr. Bill Kanasky. We will see you next time.